Welcome to the podcast Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook, where we will discuss the latest and most relevant business strategies to help you do one thing extremely well: sell more homes. We'll discuss everything from business planning to lead generation and conversion to past client customer service and everything in between. Join us for authentic conversations and nuts and bolts takeaways you can implement into your business today. And now, Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Selling Real Estate with Kelly Cook. And of course, Kelly is here with us today. Kelly, we were kind of talking a little bit before. It sounds like you're having a little bit of a hectic day today, but you're gonna turn it around and it's still gonna be a good day for you. Is that right?
That's right. It's right now. It's going to change. It's going to change. So, and you know what? I'm going to make a few calls, do some things, talking to clients. We're going to move the ball forward today. It's going to be good.
Still going to check off the things that you need to do and get done, right? Because you're still going to win your day, which is something that we're going to talk about. We've talked about it several times in the past, like over the past, I mean, we've been doing this for what? Gosh, like 7 years, 7 years. So this is something that we've talked about before. This is not, for you longtime listeners, this is not going to be some, a brand new concept for you, but it is a good reminder, especially right now. We're about halfway through the year, probably kind of taking a look at your goals that you set for the year, seeing where you are, where you're ahead or falling short. And a good way to kind of know if you're on track or where you might end up is at the end of the year is to know is to bring it down, not year, bring it down day by day and know if you're winning your day. So Kelly, let's get into it. Let's remind everybody why this is so important and how you know if you've won your day or not.
Love the setup, Elizabeth. Love it. Right now we're in World Cup season, right? It's happening right here in the US of A, North America. And one thing I can't stand about soccer, and I love watching World Cup. Not, soccer fan, okay, it's fine, but World Cup is awesome because of the international pageantry and all that fun stuff. But one thing I can't stand about it are ties. You win or you lose, right? Or I should say you win or you gain experience. I guess there are no losses, right? That's the big thing. But I'm going to spin that into how you win your day, like you just said, because I think everyone knows how. Everyone does not know. Most people don't know how to win their day. And I'm going to say, if you walk into a soccer game, a football game, a basketball game, and you just showed up in the middle of the first quarter, how long does it take you to realize who actually is winning?
How long? I mean, well, pretty quick when you look at the scoreboard.
Bingo.
Okay, I thought you were asking who's going to win the game. I'm like, I don't know. It can always flip. But yeah, you just look at the scoreboard. It's keeping track. Scoreboard.
Yeah, exactly. It takes you a second to figure out who's winning and losing. So number one, do you have a scoreboard in your business? Do you have a scoreboard for your numbers? Specifically, maybe you're a solopreneur and you are by yourself. All good. Do you have a way to track your numbers? And do you know if you are winning or not at this point of the year? Like you said, Elizabeth, okay? And this goes back to how do you win your day? So we're not going to go down that path because of the scoreboard in terms of the goal setting and are you on track. We're going to go a different route today. We're going to talk about winning your day because if you win your days, we all know you win your weeks, you win your weeks, you win your months turn into years, and that's how you do it. It's day by day, little by little. It's consistency, which we all know is the magic pill. But how do you know you won your day? Now, I asked that question to my team a few weeks ago, because we are talking about time blocking and things of that nature, which are very important, although nobody wants to really talk about it because it's not the most sexy thing in the world.
Kind of boring.
Yeah, it's boring. But how do you know you win your day? And some of the answers were interesting. And here's the thing, guys. They weren't necessarily wrong because the things they were talking about were pseudo work or full-blown work in terms of real estate. Doing something. They were busy doing something, okay? One of them said, if it's really, I feel good about it if I just know I was out there trying to make things happen. I go, what does that mean? Well, I was maybe showing some houses, and I was returning some phone calls, emails, that sort of thing. Yeah, some activities. Okay, great. So you were working, but did you win your day? Well, yeah. Okay, now then I ask the question, have you ever shown properties to somebody who ultimately ended up not buying a house with you? And the answer for anyone who's been in business for any short to long period of time is absolutely yes, that happens. Now, obviously, we want to combat that with buyer broker agreements and so on and so forth, but it happens. And it has happened to pretty much everybody in real estate, including yours truly here. So How do you justify that then? If you were working, showing them properties on 8 different weekends over the course of 8 weeks, let's say, and then all of a sudden they decide, I just don't want to buy. It could have been a situation where you had the buyer broker. They didn't necessarily screw you or do something shady. They just decide, you know what, I'm going to move to Nashville instead of Phoenix or whatever.
Or I'm not going to move at all.
Not going to move at all. Yeah, some change. That happens. Now, if that's the case, do you go back in time in your calendar over the past 8 weeks and then say, can't count those those working hours, and therefore I guess I didn't win the day, so now I got to make up for that? See, no one does that, and when I say no one, I mean no one does that.
Sounds kind of like an unfair thing to yourself if you were to do that.
Correct. Because the showing of homes and that type of thing, that is a byproduct. That's a lag measure of the things that you should be tracking, which are lead measures, which are how you track if you won your day. So let me explain. You go to a football game, because I love football, and the crowds typically cheer the loudest. Let's say we're at a Nebraska football game, Elizabeth, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're playing Ohio State. We're winning.
Oof.
So it's really,
Electric.
a dream here, right? So, but we're winning, and it's a great game. It's middle of the game somewhere, and what would be the loudest thing that the crowd would probably cheer for if Nebraska was on offense? If we scored a touchdown. That's right. Mm-hmm. Now, if we, on first down, because they're knowledgeable fans, and most football fans across America, let's say, for watching a game are, if it's first down and 10 and we had a run for 20 yards, but then got tackled, would that be a pretty big cheer too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a win.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a win, right? Maybe if we're on defense and we get a sack for a loss of 5 yards, would that be a win? Yes, people would cheer for that. Would they cheer as loud as maybe scoring a touchdown, a 50-yard touchdown pass? Maybe not, because that's kind of the pinnacle of what you cheer the loudest for and get the most points for in the game, in that particular game. Well, the game of real estate is no different. And this is how you should be treating your career, your game. And so if you close 24 deals a year, I say this all the time, you close 24 transactions a year, you are crushing it by standards of comparing yourself to realtors across America. The average realtor is doing 5 to 6 deals a year. Look it up, okay? And that's hard. We can talk about how hard that is to live on and all that stuff, but the reality is that's the fact. So if you're doing 24 a year, you're crushing it, right? So everyone on our team, that's our minimum standard of our team, right? That everyone does 24 deals a year to a month. And when you have that kind of leverage of a team that provides and so on and so forth, that's what you should be doing. But as an individual, you absolutely, if you want to work hard and be consistent, you absolutely can be closing 24 deals a year, if not, hopefully, a lot more. So 24 working days, 24 days out of the year, because we can't close escrows on weekends. Counties are not open. Government's not open. So that brings it down to working days. Now, the average working day amount in a calendar year is about 260 days. Call it 261, 262, just depends, but 260 we'll call it, okay? So if you do 24 deals a year to a month, and you subtract that off of 260, you're looking at 236 days that you're working, or you should be working, the rest of the year. Well, now let's just get really generous here. Let's say you're going to build in some big time vacations and some sickness days. And then for the sake of argument and round math, let's just say you build in 36 of those days. Okay. You're going to take some time. Right. Okay. Fair enough. That's a lot of time off, but let's say it happens. 200 days you're working. 200 days left in the year, you're not closing deals. By the way, you're having a good year because you closed 24 transactions. Do you just mean you lost a day? Does that mean you lost a day? Does that mean you just go home and like, well, I don't know if I really did anything correct, or I don't know if I moved the ball forward? I don't know. But I'm going to go to sleep and wake up the next day and try to wander through the day, and hopefully I can close the deal because that's the only measurement I have of success. That is incorrect. That's not the way to look at it, right? And that's a poor way to plan for the year too as well. So winning your day is consistent. Now, how we do it, which we won't go into the details of all that here today on this podcast. We can maybe break that down in future podcasts, or you could always reach out to me if you have some questions around it. But how we do it is we break it down into a number daily for the working days that you plan that you're going to be working for the year. And you got to hit that number. Well, what is that number? Some people do contacts, right? Some people do nurturers, they call it, right? We we do what is called opportunities, and it's very similar to a nurturer. Traditionally speaking, how people over the last 20 years have talked when it came to business planning. So opportunities, and I will tell you just rough math, working in a price point of say $400,000 to $500,000 in somewhere in there, with a decent commission. Call it 2.5% plus or minus a little bit right in there. Just really rough. If somebody wanted to make about 100K, working with those assumptions, you're in the ballpark of two, let's call it rounded up, three opportunities per day, working 5 days a week. So let's just say, again, we're not specific, we're really around here, but let's just say you knew your goal was to hit 3 a day. Now, here's the thing. Now we're going to wrap this up and tie a bow on it. You know your number. You know what it takes to win the day. So if you could put your head on the pillow at night, whatever time that is, some people go to bed early at 8 o'clock, right? Some people go late at midnight. But whenever you decide to do that, if you know you haven't done 3, you did not win your day. But Kelly, I closed a transaction. It closed. I got a check. Cool. You still don't win your day.
Yeah, that doesn't help in the future. That's not setting up your future wins. Yeah.
Bingo. You scored a touchdown, but then next drive, your offense doesn't come on the field.
Yeah.
So at the end of the game, you're probably going to have the scoreboard show that you lost because your offense isn't on the field. How are you going to score any future points? Okay. That's the point. Oh, we had a 15-yard touchdown pass. It was incredible. You should have saw the catch the guy made in the throw. It was unreal. Crowd went nuts. We scored 7 points or 6 points plus the extra point. Awesome. We're good. Second quarter, we're going to pack it in. Right?
Yep.
What are you talking? The game's not over. The year is not over. Okay. Your fiscal year is not over. So, again, this is how you do it. So, this is not based off now your game of 3, let's say daily, is not based off a clock. This is where the difference comes in, where maybe the analogy should be more like a baseball game. There's no clock in baseball, right? It just goes until the outs are achieved. So, that is kind of the point here. If at 10 a.m. you have 3, do knock yourself off. You want to leave and go do whatever you want to do the rest of the day, you can do so and screw around and know when you put your head in the pillow, big smile on your face, I won the day. Conversely, 5:30 happens. Everyone leaves the office. People are like, all your friends that, don't even work with you or do some other industry, they're home too. And they're, calling you up about coming out to, grab some dinner somewhere or some barbecue, right? Kids games. Nope. You don't leave the office. You stay until you get 3. Now, obviously, is it because I got to stay like 2 o'clock in the morning? You got
to call it quits at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
You're probably not going to be getting any opportunities at 2 a.m. anyway.
Bingo. And if you did, you probably don't want those.
Yeah, I was like, it might not be great opportunities if that's the case.
Right. So yes, at some point you got to call it quits. But it could go to 9 p.m. That's very reasonable to an extent, right? For some people. And so anyways, the point is you go until you achieve the goal. It's not based off of, a time constraint. And if you do that every day and your business plan, which we didn't talk about at all today, was as such to where your conversion rates are a certain percentage and blah, blah, blah. Your assumptions are blah, blah, blah. You can make your business very predictable if you're choosing to know if you won your day and actually commit to hitting it ideally 90% of the time. And I'm going to say 100, guys, because if you're planning sick days and vacation, it should be 100. And if you hit it 90% of the time, then you should expect to hit 90% of your goal. That's the reality. Don't show up 80, 90% of the time, which is still phenomenally great compared to most people, but expect to hit 100% of your goal. Okay? So on planet Earth, that's how it works.
We've got certain laws of nature that have to work. So absolutely. And
maybe one day with SpaceX you'll be on Mars, or maybe you're already there and it works on Mars. I don't know.
Yep. Maybe there are different rules. And Kelly, do you suggest, so if let's say that you were staying at the office till 9, you got 2 opportunities, but you had to pack it in at some point and just couldn't get to that last one for whatever reason, just didn't happen. Does that mean the next day then now your goal is 4, or how do you kind of like snowball that if you have to? Does that kind of move the needle?
Great question. I'll say 2 things on that. Number one, quick answer to the first thing. Number one is yes. The next day it should be 4. Yes. Another way to do this, which I think is a phenomenal psychological hack, is starting your work week not on a Monday. As a realtor, start your work week on a Saturday. Well, Kelly, I don't typically work 7 days a week. Okay, cool. Then that really doesn't matter as much if you start on a Saturday as opposed to Monday, but I would still start on a Saturday because what if you do, maybe you don't work 7 days a week, but maybe you work 6, or maybe you typically work 5, but every once in a while you'll do an open house or some activity on a weekend day. So picture yourself doing an open house on a Sunday afternoon, and 7 people come in. 3 are not working with an agent and are nice, and they're legitimately looking to maybe buy a house at some point in the future. So you capture the information and they become one of your potential leads or clients in the future. You just roll into Monday morning when you come to the office. You just rolled into Monday with +3. Okay, so now let's say Monday, it is a tough day. You're playing catch up. Some clients call you, and some crazy things are happening, whatever, and you only get 1. You can go home knowing you still have +1 for Tuesday. You see what I'm saying? So like you can, or maybe you know what, on Tuesday you have to do this thing for half the day. You're going to a workshop, and you don't want to plan ahead and try to nail 3 ahead of time, which you should do if you're having a workshop out of the office all day. So you say, no, I'm +3, I'm +1, I'm +2, whatever. I already got something going for that day. The weekend becomes bonus money, because here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to have the weekend be the end of your week, because Friday comes. You didn't win your day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Let's say you won on Monday, Tuesday. So you're behind, let's say 4, right? For the week, which is 15, right? You're behind 4. You got 11 for the week. You're behind 4. I got an open house on Sunday. I'll get it then. And then what happens on Sunday? No one shows up.
Mm-hmm. So you're banking on the weekend
and now you're -4 going into the next week, right? And trying to get that caught up is gonna be a little bit of a challenge. Could you do it? Absolutely, you could. But then you understand this is how it starts to snowball. Before you know it, look up, it's July 1st, which is right around the corner. Half the year is gone, and you are not 50%, not even close to 50% towards your goal for the year. Mm-hmm. And now you're like, yeah, you know what? Now it's July, so let's just go ahead and call it good for us at 26, and let's just work on 27. And then you look back and realize, well, I said the same thing in September of last year. And then in 2024, I said the same thing in October. I packed it, because I was behind. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. This is a pattern that has to stop, guys. If you're serious about hitting your goal and achieving your financial goals that you actually set forth when you came into real estate as the profession you wanted to work in. Mm-hmm. There you go.
I love, like I said, we've talked about this several times, but I feel like every time we do talk about it, there's a little bit more insight or just a little different of a take to maybe if you haven't listened to this all of the times we've talked about it, maybe something in each of the different episodes will click with you and sink in at this point, that especially like we said, right now you're middle of the year. We are far from over for the year. So don't I really got to do this and I'll start it in 2027. No, start it now. Finish your year strong, which also, just for the record, sets up your next year. So be ahead. They're like, start making these opportunities now, which hopefully turn into business within a couple of months, right? But it might not, but you're still setting up. It's very interesting, Kelly. Just real estate in general is a very stack on stack on stack type of business. Every conversation you have now, every opportunity that you make could be business 3 years from now, right? So don't sell yourself short, not just on this year, but on 10 years down the line, right? These are all, it's a domino effect, right? So if you have any questions about this, about more details on, how Kelly runs it on his team, or you just want to talk about anything real estate, Kelly, where can they reach you?
Yeah, at the Instagram, hit me up, shoot me a follow there at Kelly Cook Homes.
At Kelly Cook Homes. See him there and join us next week for another episode. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Kelly.
See you guys.